And I'm sure you know, like going through really hard things, we get through it with other people. If that's with
Mm-hmm.
providers, if that's with family, community. But like the hardest things I've gotten through, I've had those people surrounding me, and it's made a huge difference. And being
Yep.
able to find providers is a
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Ability Podcast. I am your host, Nick Earhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. All right, everyone. My guest today is super awesome, and I'm looking forward to this one. So, my guest name is Alenka, and I guess I'm going to start it on that one, but that's okay. All right. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you like to spend your time?
Yeah. I'm Alenka. I'm originally a Canadian. I currently live in Los Angeles. I am a perpetual learner. I'm super curious. I just love learning all sorts of things and go down deep rabbit holes. So, you're warned in advance that might be part of this conversation.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about a lot of things. I love food. I have a rescue pup that, she is now well behaved in most circles, unless there's a squirrel. But such as life.
Right.
Yeah.
So, how do you spend most of your time?
Yeah. So, in terms of what I spend my time doing, I really do enjoy working, which
Mm-hmm.
has been great in that, I've been able to do some cool things over the course of my career. Bad in that I tend to push it too hard, as some of us might have, experienced. Um,
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. So right now I'm still working a day job, but I am
Mm-hmm.
starting my own company on the side because, like it's not that easy to quit, as a lot of us know. But
Yep.
it's for the first time in my life, every time I work on it, it feels really, it doesn't feel like work. I feel very
Mm-hmm.
passionate about it. I'm really excited about it. It doesn't feel like I'm forcing myself to do something, unlike doing the dishes, right? I feel like I'm forcing myself
Yeah.
generally with that, right?
Exactly. I
Yeah.
know. I got dishes to do, and it's just like I don't wanna.
Very grateful. A friend was over this morning and did all of them. So the sink is empty is the best thing ever.
Okay, well, send your friend to my house.
Yeah,
So
but
I would love to learn about your company and what you're doing.
yeah, so I went through a series of health issues in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to what the doctors were telling me to do, but it just wasn't, I wasn't getting answers. I
Mm-hmm.
was re-injuring myself and not progressing. And this happened over the course of 2 years. I'm at 2 years
Okay.
a couple weeks ago, actually. And last year, after trying a bunch of other things that the doctor didn't tell me about, I had to do my own research. I realized that with my background in building software, so I've built software for other companies, right? You work for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like the design and the business side, etc., I had the ability to create something that could help connect people who haven't found answers to providers. And so the way
Mm-hmm.
we're building and doing that is doing that kind of connection based on a series of different filters, right? You enter in what you're going through, what you're looking for, and that can look like a lot of different things depending on who you are and what you need. But it
Yep.
also matches you based on your worldview, your values, and where you're at in your healing journey. Because it's really important that, like, if you're just super miserable with whatever it is, it's not
Mm-hmm.
fair to be like, well, and here's this like 5 week treatment and you have to do exercises every day. Like, we all know that that's just not helpful, right? So it's helping
Yep.
you with where you're at today. And in that case, right, you're really miserable. Let's help you get some sort of relief, because you're not going to have the
Mm-hmm.
energy to do what you need to do, whatever that looks like, until you get relief, right? And so we have this mapped
Mm-hmm.
out framework where we match you to providers based on need. And those providers look like a lot of different things depending on what maybe you need, because what you need is very different than what someone else needs.
Yeah. You. Well, that's incredible and definitely something that's needed. Because like a lot of us, have health issues, and yeah, like you said, you go to the doctor, nothing changes. They don't really help. And then you're just like, well, what do I do? And it's good for people to have another outlet, another way to get help. And
Yeah.
I've realized this over the past a couple of years. It's like you know it's better to kind of find help outside the hospital, in my opinion. Just like because it's more specific and suited to you, and that's what you're doing. You're
Yeah.
making it very suited to the person and not just a generalized thing. So it's really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, this is a funny comparison, but you made me think of it. I don't
Hmm.
know about you, but I hate shopping for jeans, right?
Hmm.
But if there was only one type of jean and that's all we got, like all of us would be super miserable. There's a reason why there's so many types of jeans out there, and different types of
Yep.
pants. But so, like,
Yep.
what can we do to make the system? But for some people, it works. And I think that's really important
Yep.
to say.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I think Western medicine is absolutely incredible. And it's like we can even think of things that we've learned in the last 10 years, 50 years, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
it is amazing, but it doesn't fix everything for everyone. And I'm
Hmm.
not saying that, that is
Exactly.
something that's possible, right? Like, it's a complicated, very messy thing. And I'm not a health
Yeah.
professional. But what I'm saying is
Hmm.
there are so many experts that exist out there in the world today. It's just,
Hmm.
if you have the right connections, right? If your friends or your family know of this person that can help you, that's great. And
Hmm.
it works sometimes, but like it has its limits. Your, circle
Yeah.
of people has its limits. So this is expanding that and bringing on people
Exactly.
who are vetted. And we have a series of things we, make sure that we uh, vet against. And we're
Hmm.
very transparent with what our values and what's important for us with providers on the platform.
That's just incredible. Because you don't want a bad provider on there. So
Yeah.
that's good that you go through the process and make sure that they are top notch. So that's awesome. So,
Yeah.
well, what is your business called?
Yeah. So the business is called Saha, which translates to connection or together or endure. And so for me, it
Ooh,
was
I like
important to
that.
find something. Yeah, right. That's,
Hmm.
I'm glad you like it. Most people have that reaction because
Yeah.
and I'm sure like going through really hard things, we get through it with other people, if that's with
Hmm.
providers, if that's with family, community. But like the hardest things I've gotten through, I've had those people surrounding me, and it's made a huge difference. And being
Yep.
able to find providers is a huge part of that, puzzle, if you
Hmm.
will.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I love the name of it. It's just so awesome. It really is. It's so meaningful. You
Yeah.
know, I feel like a lot of business names nowadays they just don't really. You know, I mean, mine's Nick Earhart, my name, but that's why I have my awesome slogan, which is "Your abilities are infinite." So that kind of wraps it up and makes it cool.
Yeah, but
you
you're
know,
the face of the brand, right? It makes perfect
yeah,
sense. Yeah.
exactly. And um, I structured everything around that, and that you know, brand is so important
Mhm.
to any business.
Yeah.
So it's really all awesome. So how has your journey been so far? Kind of diving into this entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, it's been a little crazy. So for like what I am really like my genius zone is building
Hmm.
products and building things that like I see a problem and I'm like, oh, let me solve it for you. Like I'm the type of person that's
Hmm.
almost like annoying in a social setting because someone's like, wouldn't this be cool if? And I'm like, yeah. And then like I'm like, let's figure it out together, right? Like that, I'm that person.
That's
So like
awesome.
it's fun, but like, somebody's like, I just want to fly. I'm like, well, like we can, play with it. Anyway, it's like, so for me, that's what I'm best at. And entrepreneurship
Hmm.
is so much more than just the one thing that you're really good at, right? Um,
Yep.
which can be really exhausting. It's something that I talk about with relation to the providers we're bringing on board, but our goal with the providers is to keep them in their genius zone. I don't know if you've heard that term, right? But like that area that
Yeah.
you're really good at, and then getting rid of
Hmm.
the rest of the administrative tasks, like we take care of that. And for me, that's been a hard balance from an
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurship side, right? Is like, okay, this is what I'm really good at, but I also need to figure out how to do social media because I wasn't comfortable with my face on camera 3 weeks ago, and
Yep.
now I'm really worked on being comfortable with it, right?
Yep.
um
Mm-hmm.
like, what are, like, financially, how do we structure certain things from like a investment standpoint? How do you bring on an advisory board, and like
Mm-hmm.
what does that look like? So many things that like I've never had to figure out, and now all
Yep.
of a sudden, like, it's on my plate and I'm figuring it out. So I
Yep.
think it's just been a really fascinating experience in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and you know, I like the fact that you brought up social media and being on camera because that's something that a lot of people struggle with. I
Yeah.
did too, and you know, what I can say is if you want to build your self confidence, do that. Record videos of yourself and post them. That's like the biggest confidence boost there is. I think that's what helped me more than anything. So,
Yeah, I think it's been really interesting because I there's that inner critic, right? And we're always worse to
oh yeah,
ourselves than we are to anyone else. And I
yep,
think I was so worried about, what the people that I cared about in my life would think.
hmm
The feedback has been really good. Even
I know,
people
right?
that like I wasn't sure about, like, it's been really beautiful to see. I think we often don't lean on our support systems very much, but
hmm
like, especially the type of person I am, is I take care of everyone else, but I have a hard time asking for help.
hmm
So when I've asked for help now with, like, supporting in different ways, I've been amazed at how much people are willing to be there for me. And I think that's
Yep.
something that, with like social media, maybe you're like, I can't deal with editing. Like, I can figure
hmm
out the recording bit, but I can't deal with that. Or I can't figure out like the script, what to
hmm
write, how trending audio works, all of that. There are people in your life, if you
hmm
asked, who would probably be willing to help you out.
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, I love how you said that. Lean on your support system, lean on your family, your friends, the people that have been there for you through everything. It's so powerful. Like m- my sister Alicia. Hey Alicia, shout out. But she helps me with my social media sometimes. And it's like, especially on TikTok, she's like really good on there. So like we'll make a fun video, and because like my videos that I do, they're more education, help you in some sort of way, inspiring. So then we'll do like a cool little video, and then my views just skyrocket because she knows what she's doing on TikTok, and I don't. So yeah, it's so important to reach out to the people that you know, ask for help. It's always okay to ask for help.
Yeah. Yeah, I was explaining to someone today, and I said, like, sure, I could build this myself, this whole system, right?
hmm
Probably take me a
hmm
decade.
Yeah,
Or I
right.
could lean on people. I could, be creative with my, my bills and the way I do things, and pay somebody to help, right? Like,
hmm
I think like, for me, these priorities are worth it. I know in some cases
Yeah.
it might not be, but, I like eating out. I also don't have to, and
hmm
that adds
Yeah.
up. And like, I can pay the person that's helping with social media for a whole month if I don't eat out like 3 times.
Yeah. Exactly. And you know, delegating is so important in business.
Yeah.
And you know, most businesses fail within the first like 5 years,
Hmm.
something like that. And a lot of that is because the owner just has to have complete control over everything. No, it is good to have control, but you also need to lean on your employees so they can, do their job and just allow them to help you, you know. And yeah, delegate all the tasks that you don't need to do. Like my first big, task like that is I have over 4 acres of land, and I used to mow it every week. That's 3.5 hours every week. And when I was, starting my business, one day I was just like, why am I wasting my time mowing my lawn when I can pay somebody else to do it? So I sold my lawnmower. It was only a couple of years old. I got rid of it. I called up a lawn care company that I already knew. I was like, all right, it's yours. Just
Yeah.
send me a bill every month. I don't want to do it. And yeah, it's so freeing. It's just a good feeling when you do that. It's like, wow,
Yeah.
I don't have to mow my lawn now. It's just, simple things like that, but they add up because
Mhm.
that's, over 3 hours a week now that I can spend on my business helping other people. And that's huge.
It's huge. Yeah, I like what you said that like in your gut it felt good. Like that is so
Yeah,
powerful. Yeah.
yeah, it did. It felt amazing, you know. And I mean, like for me, I missed mowing. That was like my time to think, but it was like, I don't need that.
I mean, and that's what I was thinking about. I'm like, for some of us, that can be like a good break, right? It can be
Yep.
something that, but it has to, that can look like other things, right? Like that can,
Mm-hmm.
as long as you give yourself those breaks, it doesn't have to be mowing your lawn, right? Could be something where
Yeah.
you choose to do it instead of you have to do it.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah. Um. But like, what you know, what does your day look like? Like, how do you like over? Let's talk about overcoming challenges because that's one important in business is how you handle those challenges. So maybe talk about one challenge that popped up and how you got through it.
Yeah, I think, um, I mean, my day looks different every day. I'm actually
Mm-hmm.
almost every day I've been recording as a guest on some podcasts. Working my day job, often having a nap, highly recommend. Walking my dog, and then evenings I spend on working on Saha primarily. And then
Mm-hmm.
every, now and then I'll go to like a networking group in person or virtually, and those
Mm-hmm.
have been really powerful. I've met a lot of really interesting people, and then you have follow up meetings, right? But I think in
Yeah.
terms of overcoming challenges, I think one of the most relatable was the being on camera
Mm-hmm.
that we were talking about.
Yeah.
And so for
Mm-hmm.
me, so I'm the type of person that when somebody wants to take a picture, I've never ever stood in a mirror and like checked like what side is the best side and like practiced my smile. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just not that person, right? Some people do that
Yep.
and that's wonderful, but I've just never
Mm-hmm.
had the desire to. And so when I take pictures with like friends, my default is to make a silly face because I know that is
Yeah.
going to be fun, right? Like it's
Yep. Oh yeah.
right? Like it's easy. And so for me to be able to get comfortable with the things I was uncomfortable with on camera took a lot of introspection and took a lot
Mm-hmm.
of like, why? Why am I uncomfortable with this? Like,
Mm-hmm.
am I uncomfortable with how I feel about how I look? Am I uncomfortable with because I'm not like a perfect version of whatever I think I should be? What is it
Mm-hmm.
that I am questioning? And what is making me like so deeply uncomfortable? And so I was able to work through some of that and really get a better understanding of it. And unfortunately, it was a lot of forcing myself to do it, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
one of my
Yep.
friends, she offered to help take headshots for me, right? Leaning on your network.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I, need it for a lot of different reasons. It's surprising how often people ask for it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
she was telling me when she was taking pictures of me, she's like, you have subtitles on your forehead that say you don't want to be here. Like I just
Yep.
don't, it's not something I love, but you have to get used to
Mm-hmm.
being okay with it at least, right? And I think it's
Exactly.
practice and processing and not shoving down that feeling of whatever it is, dread, anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
but actually listening to it and figuring out why. And then you
Mm-hmm.
can address it, right? Um,
Yep.
because if you don't know what's going on, it's really hard to work through it.
Exactly. And like we all have a hard time pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone. And like this is something that I kind of live by,
Mhm.
and it's if you're afraid to do it, you should probably do it. That's the thing that you should do. You know, it's so true. So many things in life, we're scared of putting ourselves out there or anything like that. It's
Yeah.
like, no, just do it. Just do it scared. It doesn't matter. You'll be fine. You know.
Yeah, and it's
So yeah,
often not as bad as we think it's going to be, you know? Like we
exactly.
build it up in our heads it's going to be some awful thing, and I'm so
Yep.
pleasantly surprised so many times, you know, like I'm like, "Oh, I need to reach out to this person. I'm scared to do it. Like what if they say no?" Maybe they don't respond, maybe they say no, or best case,
Hmm.
they're super awesome and helpful, you know?
Yeah. I love that you brought that up. We're all so scared of somebody saying no.
Yeah.
It's like it's just a word. It's fine. Like for real. Like just on to the next one. But like what I do, I'm a 10x coach, so we like to 10x everything that we do. If they say no, well, give it an hour and call them again, and then the next day call them again. Eventually, they might say yes. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
but
and
that's
it's oftentimes it has nothing to do with you
no,
know?
no.
Like nothing to
Hmm.
do it, and I think what we often take is, oh, a no means something about me. It means that I'm
Yeah.
not capable enough, I'm not good enough. And oftentimes like
Hmm.
you don't know, maybe their kid is having a meltdown and they don't have time to deal with anything else right now, right? Like
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
it could have nothing
Like
to do with you.
in business, your competition is not, like for you, it's not another medical program out there.
Mhm.
Your competition is the news, the families, everything that's going on in the world. That's your competition. That's what you're competing against, because you have to get your clients, uh, to pay attention to you instead of all of that other stuff.
Yeah.
So like, a lot of people, they tend to, compete against the similar industry. It's like, don't worry about what they're doing. Focus on you
Yeah.
and make sure that you become known,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah, and I think it
because
go ahead, go ahead.
you know the the best known beats the best every time. Like look at Coca-Cola. Do they have the best drink in the world? Nope, but the whole world knows them. And McDonald's. Do they have the best cheeseburger? Nope, but we all know them. So it's just all about getting it out there, getting your name out there, and doing whatever it takes to help people.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and to add to that, I think when you're true to what makes you you and what
Mm-hmm.
makes what you're doing unique and truly
Yeah.
authentic, you feel it in your gut, no
Mm-hmm.
one can take that away from you.
No. No. I agree. I agree. All right, so my slogan, your abilities are infinite. What does that mean to you?
Oh, this is a good one. So I think
Mm-hmm.
we always like question what we can do, right? And we
Mm-hmm.
question our abilities to do something. And for me, something I've been spending a lot of time thinking about is my mission stronger than my fear of whatever the thing is today, right? Stronger than my fear
Yep.
of saying no, stronger than my fear of being on camera. And it emphatically every time has been yes. What I am doing and what I believe that this company can do and how it can make an impact on the world
Mm-hmm.
is way bigger than me being scared to be in front of a camera, right? And so that's
Yeah.
where I think if you take that and you multiply it by all the things we're scared of, that's where
Mm-hmm.
that limitless comes in.
Yep. I agree. I love that, and it reminds me of something that I believe in is if your if your why is big enough, like the reason, the how will reveal itself.
Yeah.
So if your why is strong enough, the how you're gonna get there, it will reveal itself, and that's what I've seen my whole journey through everything. It's like I got this big why. I have big goals, and like everything just kind of keeps falling together. And I mean, as you know, as an entrepreneur, it's like every day there's something that you're like, I don't know how I'm gonna get through that, but you figure it out every time.
Yeah.
So that's super powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good way of putting it.
So yeah, if people want to get a hold of you, reach out to you, how do they find you?
Yeah. I'm going to insert one really important thing about Saha that I keep forgetting to talk about at the beginning, but
Go
just
ahead.
before we wrap up. So I don't believe that care and healthcare should be accessible to you only if you can afford it. And that's a really key part of Saha. So with every appointment booked, a portion of the proceeds will go towards a fund, and that fund will be available for people to use so that they can get access to the same care that everyone else has access to. And the providers get paid, and, like all of that. That's like a beautiful circle. So I wanted to make sure we covered that. I'm so sorry I didn't mention it earlier.
I love that, and that's incredible. And I love how you're doing that, and I wish more companies would do things like that.
Me
But
too.
It's also something that I plan on doing for my own, some structure like that, because there's a lot of people that can't afford, but for me, I'm a coach, and but so I want to help everyone, but we can't help everyone for free, but
Yeah.
we can do our best to provide the tools and resources that they need.
Yeah.
So that's really awesome.
Yeah. And to your point, I think it's really important that coaches and whoever it is are still able to afford to pay their bills, but also serve the people they care most about,
Exactly, because I can't serve a lot of people without money. That's just the fact. People can say what they want, but the more income my business generates, the more people I can help.
Yeah.
It's just like a snowball effect. Like just more money, more people. And that's what business is all about.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. So sorry, let me answer your original question.
Yeah.
So the way people can get in contact with me is, so we're right now collecting emails for our wait list, and that's really important because that means you will be among the first people that will have access to the platform, both from a provider side and a client side. So that website is sahacollective.com. So that's SAHA collective.com. In terms of social media, we have Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube are all the same. It's saha.collective. And then, if you want to email us, you have questions, you have thoughts, you just need to vent to someone, info@sahacollective.com.
Awesome. Easy. I love how you keep it easy, just like I do.
Yeah.
So I will drop all your links in the show notes so people can find you easily. And this has been really, really great. I'm so grateful that you came on.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for having me, Nick. I've been really looking forward to this conversation.
Awesome. It was good. All right. Well, we will see you on the next one. If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me in it, the Nick Earhart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors, so let's just get it out there by word of mouth and help more people. Alright, everyone, remember, your abilities are infinite.